let's just sew whatever. Okay, so I'm going to be making some skirts for my nieces, and I'm using this pattern from Brindle and Twig. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But this is just their basic skirt, and I thought this would be super cute. This is just a big square, so I'm a little frustrated that they didn't just include like measurements for how to do it without printing it out, but oh well. So I went ahead and measured the size that I need for them, and then I just grabbed the measurements so that I can use a rotary cutter to cut it out. I've had this fabric from Silver Fox Fabrics for so long. I wanted to make something for myself with it, and I probably will eventually, but I just haven't gotten there. So since this is a square, I think I'm just gonna fold it in half so I can get two of them at once. And normally this would be a problem because my print would be upside down, but it's just a square, so I can flip them right sides together without a problem. And my nieces wear the same exact size, even though they are 2 years old and 5 years old. So I'm just gonna make them a bunch to share so they don't fight over them or anything like that. I figured that would be easier. Okay, so I'm gonna start by getting everything straight. And you can kind of trace if you need to before you cut. I'm just gonna jump right into it. And I'm hoping to make them like 4 or 5 of these because they seem pretty simple, honestly. I thought about trying to add pockets, but I'm not a good enough clothing seamstress to add pockets and like make it up by brain myself. So I will not. So there's that, and then I'm just gonna cut across the bottom. Oh, how did that get dirty? Okay. And then I'll turn these so the prints are right sides together. And then all you have to do is clip along the sides, and then I'm going to use my serger and my cover stitch to make them. And I think what I might do when I'm done sewing them is add like patch pockets somewhere on the skirt, because I think that would be super cute. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out a whole bunch more. Okay, so I've got a few cut out. I'm gonna cut my elastic. All that I had laying around was 1 inch. It calls for 1.25, so I think I'll be okay. So you want to cut the elastic given in the measurements, that amount. I'm really hoping I have enough for 4, but we'll see. I'm gonna cut it just a little bit smaller because my niece's waist measurements are a little smaller than what's there, but I don't think it'll matter. I'm cutting it literally just 1/2 inch smaller. Oh no. No. I think I only have enough for 3 and I cut like 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And that is way too small. So I'll see if I have any other kind of elastic sitting around, but this is waistband elastic, so it has a really nice. Found some more scraps. I'm really happy. Some of my pieces are a little bit shorter, but it's really stretchy and doesn't hurt when it stretches, which is something that's important to think about when you're making clothing for children especially. So I think we're ready to get started. I did cut one out of a woven fabric because the pattern almost looks like she uses a woven fabric, so I'm going to see how that works out. All right, so we're going to start off with the woven one, so I don't need any kind of stretch thread. So I'm going to start by serging the sides. I use the width of this fabric, so I've got the selvage here, so I'm going to use a wider seam allowance on this side and a smaller seam allowance on the other side, and it should be... Can you move? Thank you. Sir, stop. So then it says to serge around the top and the bottom, and that's just going to help keep your fabric from fraying. So we'll run it through. So this is the top. And just make sure you feel that you're only going through the one layer. So now I'm going to switch to my cover stitch. You could also use just a zigzag or a dual needle. And I'm going to sew across the bottom. I'm going to fold this hem up and keep it in place. So since I'm using a woven for this one, I'll probably iron it first. And then this top half gets folded over by 1.5 inches. And you'll sew that together, and then we'll add our elastic. So stay tuned for that. All right, I'm switched over. I'm going to start with the bottom. Flip it right side out. What's my chair called on? Oh, it's just weird. Okay. I'm going to start at the bottom seam. Make sure my needles are up. I have not used this much, so if I'm not great, let me know. Get down. What do you want? Go away. Go. Get. Go. Get. Okay, and then I saw someone post how she ends a chain stitch and she'll lift up, and I think she said she turns the project to kind of back stitch. I'm going to do it one more time just in case. And then you lift up press these gently. Oh no, you pull this out. Pull here. Press on these, pull here. And then you can pull your project out. I did it! Okay. So then you can either tie these off or just trim. There we go. Okay. So there's the bottom hem. It's not great, but it's just a little skirt. So then we're going to go around the top edge close to the bottom, and then we're going to insert our why can't I think of the word? Elastic, and then we're going to secure it with a box stitch so that it doesn't come undone. So you want to leave like a 2-inch opening to insert your elastic through. So I gotta go this way. Trying to find a side seam to start on. And I'm just gonna feel underneath where my existing stitching is. And make sure you're catching that. Make sure you're only sewing through the one layer. Okay, so I want to make sure I leave 2 inches open or so. So I'm gonna turn it around to secure. Oh, lift your needles. And then I'm gonna gently press on these, pull out the thread, and then I can remove my project gently. Oh. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna jump over to, no, not yet. Oh, come on. I have to string this through first, so I'm gonna do that really quick. What I'm gonna do now is just kind of clip these together and make sure that the waistband elastic is straight, because that's always the worst. Okay. I get it. So now I'm gonna head over to my other machine and sew a box stitch around that. So cute. All right, so now I'm gonna finish up cover stitching that little section, and then we're done. Ben, will you get out of my seat? Thank you. Okay, I'm just double checking the elastic feels nice. And then you just want to straighten out that one part and get it under the machine. Make sure your waistband is sitting straight. press on these. Okay. So now I've got this skirt all finished. Trim my extra little threads. Pretty sure that the little, yeah, there we go. So your seams are at the side. So what you could do is you could add little patch pockets to the front or something like that, or embroider on them. I don't know, it's just really cute. And I think my nieces are gonna love them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.